Hello, folks, and welcome again back to It's All About Racing. In this particular episode, we are going to take a look at a special box set. Now, bear in mind that Spark has only made 3 sets of these. Not this particular set, but 3 different collections, respectively. This one being a tribute to the 1970 win at Le Mans, Porsche's first win, and as you may recall from some of my previous reviews, these are the 2 cars that had the one-off liveries, the number 91 and number 92 that celebrated that particular win for Porsche at Le Mans. And this is the box set to go along with it. And as you can see, this is a description of Le Mans 143 white red, made in China, made 3/16 of 2021, and then you see all the German in the left-hand corner. I'm not sure how to exactly say all that, so I won't bother with it, but I can assure you that this is number 83 of 300 in this set. So we're going to go ahead and open up this box and let you take a look and see exactly what we have inside. There you go, folks. That's what is inside this. This is a 2-car collection, the 911 RSR and the 917. And we're going to go ahead and unwrap this in just a second, and we'll take a closer look at these cars and the box itself. But as you can see, this outer container contains this particular set in here, which you just pull out of this, and you're good and ready to go. So let's go do that now. And there we are. This is what the set looks like once it has been unwrapped. And as you may recall, I did mention that I reviewed these 2 cars previously. These were individual models that were a tribute to 1970. This black model that you see right there was the number 92 car, and this was just a standard Spark vehicle. The second one, the number 91 red car here, this was part of Porsche Limited Dealership Edition. This was number, I think, 345 out of about 2,000. And this is even rarer. This is number 83 out of 300. And this is a 2-vehicle set. Comes in that outer container that I showed you. You can see from the inside of this, it has the picture of that number 23 car. That was the 917 Porsche that won the 24 Hours of Le Mans back in 1970 for the first time. And this set includes not only that vehicle itself, but also the 91 Porsche, as that livery, that red and white livery, was based on the livery that was used on this car at that time. And if you can see on the inside of the box, outside of the picture, that livery is what abounds with it. If you turn the box around, on this side, you see number 91. You look at it from this side, you see number 23. And from the back, you see 1970. Boy, it is really tricky getting these things out of these boxes, let me tell you. But I got it out there, and there in the background you can see a little better picture of that particular the box that it's stored in. It does have a picture of the 23 car in the back of it, which I think is really, really cool. As you can tell from the top of this, this is one of the Porsche Dealership Limited Edition sets that they have, and this is a 2-vehicle set. In this case, it is number 83 out of 300 that makes this set very, very rare indeed. In fact, quite frankly, I've only seen a couple of them on eBay, and they're selling for about $250, $300 right now. But anyhow, this particular one does open from the front, unlike the side. Well, actually, it's got 4 seals on it, so it's going to take quite a bit of work to get this thing off. But give me a moment to do that, and we'll get right back to looking at these cars. Well, what a nightmare getting all 4 of those seals off, but I've got them off. And I guess for those of you who are not familiar with Spark, this is a unique box set. It is one of Porsche's dealership limited editions. I picked it up secondhand off eBay. This is a brand new set. I just got it. The base of this is wooden. It is very, very heavy, and this is not a light set at all. The models are resin, which means they're a little bit lighter than die cast, and they are highly, highly detailed. Comes with this really nice acrylic jewel box, and as you can see, the base, this is 1970. It has the drivers of Makowicki, Leitz, and Bruni, the 911 RSR, this being the number 91 car that competed in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. And the 23 car, the 917 Porsche that I read broke the arms of the drivers who tried to drive it in winning Porsche's first win in 1970 at Le Mans, and the colors of this, a lot of people wondered, why was it red with the white stripes? It was based on the Austrian colors, the Austrian national colors, and that was what this particular livery was based on that you see, and the tribute to it here in this red car was based on the same red and white scheme, only a little differently. Naturally, the 23 car, this was just a cool livery that they had for the race. The fact that they won changed everything and inspired the livery that you see on this car to basically remember, when Porsche first won the 24 Hours of Le Mans. So let's go take the top of it off and really take a look at these cars in much more detail. Boy, I'll tell you, it's kind of interesting. When you take the top off of these things, you can smell it. I'm not sure what the smell is. I don't know if it's glue or something else, but it smells good. Not that I should be whiffing my model cars here as I open them, but this is a real close look at that number 23 car. I think it's really a beautiful model. Very, very sharp. I can imagine what this must have been like in its day back in 1970 when they first won Le Mans. The drivers that drove this car were Herman and Atwood. As you can see there, they honored their names there on the side of it. Wheel detail is very, very niche. You've got this really, really deep dish wheel here in the back. And I believe these are Goodyear tires that you had on them at that time. You can see the Goodyear logo up there along with Shell. You've got Bosch. Not too surprisingly, Porsche there along the bottom of it. Shell, oh my gosh, is there anybody else that they got to sponsor this car? Well, whoever it was, they got their money's worth because they did win Le Mans that year, the first year that Porsche ever won with this particular car, which also won in 1971 as well before they retooled it because they said this car was almost impossible to drive. It was light, incredibly powerful, and just an absolute beast to handle going around the track at the speeds that they did in those times. Particularly just for two guys over 24 hours. Just think about it, what that must have been like. And here's a cool look at the front of the car. As typical, Porsche leaves no detail unturned, so to speak. Granted, this is a relatively old car, and it's not as fancy as the new ones you see today, but got very, very good looking headlights, and this camera really does, it shines so much light on this, it makes the red look orange, unfortunately. But you can see just the beautiful work there. It's got a really nice inlaid grille there. It's very, very tiny, very hard to see. The cabin details, I think, are really neat. You can see the steering wheel in there and some gauges as well as seat belts. See the gauge cluster, two of them there on the dashboard, as well as the windshield wiper. And we go around here, and I'm going to have to turn the whole thing around because there are two cars on the base, so it's kind of hard to review them with two cars on the base, and I don't like taking them off, and I've got to be careful not to break the car beside it, because like I say, there are two of them here, and I don't want to damage them. And there we are looking at the side of it, and wow, it's just such a badass looking car, isn't it? It just looks absolutely vicious and mean. And we go around and look at the top of it, and you can see there's like a fan over the engine nacelle there. I would assume that was there to cool it. You get a better idea of what the doors looked like on here. I'd imagine they were kind of scissor doors. They open up. You can tell from the outlines here that I suspect they probably did that. I don't know if that is the fuel intake there or not. I'm not sure. But they clearly have done that in chrome for some reason or another. And we'll take a look at the back of it now. And there you get a good look at the rear. You can clearly see the exhaust. You can see the rear running lights on there, as well as the structure of it. Notice there's no wing on this car. Can you imagine what it took to control this thing with the amount of power that this had? And I'm not going to sit here and take a guess. I'd have to look that up, but I gather it was... I'm thinking much more than 600 horsepower. It might have been close to 900 or something like that. And just think about the day in 1970 with that much horsepower in a vehicle that was light as this. And look at the size of that massive rear wheel. The frickin' thing is huge. It looks like a dragster wheel on this car. Absolutely monstrous. And Let's take a look at the front and see if we can gauge an idea of what the front wheel looks like on it as well. Kind of hard to tell. I would imagine not nearly as wide as the rear wheel because it's not cut out, but it kind of looks, that looks more like a wheel that we'd see on a car today. Maybe, you know, I'm not sure exactly, so I'm not going to sit here and guess. But anyhow, a really cool and unique looking vehicle. And here is a vehicle you are all familiar with, I'm sure. This is the tribute vehicle for that, the 911 RSR. Oh God, one of my favorite Porsche cars ever made. Folks, I absolutely love this livery. I mean, I went and I bought not only the the dealer's edition of the 91 Porsche, but I also got the 92 Porsche. I like buying these things in sets. I just gotta have them. I couldn't get a dealer's edition for this, so I had to just buy the regular one, which meant that number 92 car that I just showed you is not a limited edition car where the Porsche dealership is. Doesn't matter. Love the cars. Anyhow, this set came up, and I got this, quite frankly, at a really good price. So I just had to scoop it up. And in fact, I have bought another one of these sets. Not this one, but they only make 3 different sets. They make the Thank You Tribute set and the Coca-Cola Tribute, or the Coca-Cola Partnership set. And I've got one of the 2 of those. I'm not going to tell you which until I show it to you on the video, so I'll keep that as a surprise. But anyhow, here is a closer look at that number 91 car, and just being a modern car, and this being a GTE car, or a GTLM car, as you would call it in the United States, if it were competing in the IMSA series. It is tricked out with all the maximum aerodynamic packages, that massive and wide front splitter, the side running boards that are huge. The car is actually, it's longer and wider than a GT3 Porsche. It's also more powerful, not too surprisingly. But just massive as far as, its sheer power, and the aerodynamics on it are just incredible. And with that flat 6, it just sounds great. And I just love this theme, 1970. Now, the color on this car is, it's a flat red and kind of a gloss white. I have seen the Buragos and some of the other cheaper models of this, and they're very glossy. Well, the car isn't glossy. It's flat. If you want the best representation of this model, you got it. Now, you can buy the Burago model for about $25, and it's good looking, but it pales in comparison to this. And granted, this model is closer to $95 to $100, but it is absolutely certainly worth it. I mean, you take a look at the detailing on this. It is just absolutely remarkably amazing. Pull that out and just look at all the aerials and the windshield area that you have on the front of there. And the interior of this car is gorgeous. You have to look into it. You've got the netting, the seats. You can see a lot of the interior details, fire extinguishers, things like that you have in there. Pull back. And we'll move this big old thing around to the... It's hard to move. It's big. And it's heavy. It's mounted on wood. So it's a lot heavier than you can see. There's even a little bit of dust. And I just opened this thing up. I literally just pulled it out of the package, and there's dust I've got to brush off of it. But there you can see the back of the car, and I mean, just really beautifully done. This is a mid-engine car, so you do have the louvers over the engine compartment there, right behind the driver's compartment. See the Porsche on the wing. And also on the underside of that wing is 1970, and I will pull this over like this, and I'll take it under there to show it to you. It's too heavy to lift up, but there you can see 1970 under there, kind of one of those little pearls that you get with it. But a great, like I said, good-looking car. That massive rear diffuser, I absolutely love on it. And this car also bears the side exhaust. It does not have the rear exhaust, so if you didn't see the exhaust pipe back there, have no fear. It's right here, or right there. You see it. Really, really cool. I mean, I just love this design of the car. I absolutely love the car. And I am thrilled to have literally the car that's Win in 1970 inspired the livery for this car, and for the Porsche factory team to create this white and red car, as well as the 92 black and white car to compete in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. there you have it, folks. This is a review of the 1970 tribute set from the folks at Spark. Again, this was a limited edition set, number 83 out of 300. Glad that you folks got to see it first, because I'll tell you, I have not seen anybody on YouTube review this set. Have never seen a review of it. So if you saw this first. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to being loyal subscribers. Take care. See you next time. And bear in mind, I have another set to show you too. It's either the thank you set or the Coca-Cola set. See you next time. Bye-bye.